I'm here today to do a book review for a new 2023 graphic novel that I thought was really interesting, and it is called Earthdivers by Stephen Graham Jones. This is volume 1, and volume 1 is called Kill Columbus. I wanted to talk about this book for a couple of reasons. The first is that it is November, which is Native American Heritage Month, and I wanted to do a book review for a book by a Native author, and Mr. Jones is a Blackfoot Native American. There's so many amazing Native American authors out there, and I've read several other Stephen Graham Jones books, which I enjoyed, and so yeah. The other reason I wanted to talk about this book was the concept to me was just so intriguing. All right, the idea of this novel is that it is the year 2112 and the Earth's not looking so good. There's been major flooding leading to a civilization collapse throughout the world, and those who could afford to leave have already left on spaceships to colonize other planets. Our lead characters are 4 Native Americans who have stayed behind on Earth. These 4 outcasts have discovered a cave in the desert that will take you back in time. And they decide to use the power of the cave to fix where they believe it all went wrong for the Earth. And that is the founding of America with the arrival of Christopher Columbus. So convinced that this is the only way to save the Earth, the group sends back one of their own, a reluctant linguist named Tad, on a bloody one-way mission to 1492 to kill Christopher Columbus before he can reach the New World. But there are some pretty big issues with this plan. For one, Tad is an academic with no combat training and only a wavering moral compass to guide him. And the other thing is that Columbus might not be quite as dumb as they believe him to be. You know, we point out that Columbus found a place that was already full of people, and so I think there's implications that, he didn't realize he wasn't in India. Well, how did he not recognize that? This really plays into that idea. But he is actually smarter than they're expecting, and he starts to catch on that Tad might even have knowledge of the future. And then things aren't looking so good for Tad. When the story isn't following Tad, it follows the other Native Americans, including Tad's wife, Sosh, that were part of that plan to send him back. And they are on the hunt for a history book to see if anything has changed. Now, the modern plot, and it goes back and forth, is a little harder to follow, in part because maybe history is changing and maybe more than one group has known about this time cave. This is probably where there could have been a little bit more explanation, maybe a few more pages or an additional chapter so readers could kind of better understand what was going on. But I also wonder if a lot of the questions that I have about what's going on in this 2112 current setting will be explained in the next volume of this series. Now, Stephen Graham Jones, our author, is best known for his horror novels, many of which are slashers. This graphic novel is not short on violence, but if you've read any of his other books, I will say it's somehow not as violent, at least so far. But it's definitely for adults, even if it is a comic. Now, the art is, I'd say, pretty typical to what you might see in like your superhero comics. Not anything like super special. But yeah, so this is a strong start to a series. I am eagerly awaiting more. Volume 2, which will be called Ice Age, is set for release in February of 24, and I'm definitely going to pick it up and see what happens next. Thanks for joining me.